You clean the inside of the cup first, don't you? Just think about it for a second. When you clean up the dishes, when you clean up a cup, where do you first clean it? You clean it up on the inside of the cup first, don't you? It's very rare that you take a cup that you've had coffee or tea or cacao in or juice in or whatever, and you clean the outside of the cup first. First, you take the water inside of the cup. Now, this is a metaphor for how we ought to go about living, how we ought to go about life. There is a scripture that says a lot about this that I really just want to speak out loud and let it sink into your heart. So it says in Matthew 23, chapter 13 and 23 through 26. Vow to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites. Now, Pharisees and scribes, these were the so-called religious people at the time when this was written. So it says, vow to you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you clean the outside of the cup and the plate, but inside they are full of greed and self-indulgence. You blind Pharisee, first clean the inside of the cup and the plate, that the outside also may be clean. So what it was really getting at here is a lot of the time we're hypocrites. A lot of the time, we as humans, we tend to become hypocrites, and especially when we claim to be someone of importance. And we ignore the fact that the better thing to do and the best thing to do is to clean on the inside of ourselves, to look at our spirit, which produces our behavior, our thoughts, and so forth, before we ever go to the behavior, where we go to all of these things that are the end result of what is in the heart, what is in the spirit. Because whatever is in the heart, everything follows from it. This is also a scripture I know, that you want to check your heart because everything flows from it. And so if you think about it like this, what is it that you're not paying attention to within yourself? What is it that you're denying of? What are you escaping from? And very often, this comes to sort of the surface when we receive what we actually desire, such as the sort of highest frequency that we can ever experience is peace and love. It's cliche, but it's true. When we do that, if we don't truly feel worthy of it, we're going to self-sabotage, we're going to make distance, we're going to do all kinds of things in order not to actually have it, in order to feel it fully. And that is why, because in the spirit, in the heart, inside of the cup, it's not cleaned. We may be cleaned it up on the outside. From the outside, it might look like, and it might feel like we are actually wanting and deserving and receiving of that love, of that peace. But the inside of the cup cannot hold it because there's clutter in there. There's past trauma in there. There's past attachments in there. Attachments to outcomes that didn't turn out to become anything. To people and relationships that didn't turn out to become that which we wanted it to become. Our wants, our desires, right? And it might be that we let go of, or we thought we let go of, dreams and desires that didn't come to fruition in the timeline that we thought they would. And so we have this cup that's full of clutter, that's full of something which interrupts us from actually truly receiving and being spacious enough to be in being. For the cup to receive anything, it has to sort of become as empty as it can, right? So that's really what we want to strive for, and that we actually not can accomplish on our own with our limited minds. Because I mean, we've got our, how do you say, we've got these different ways of thinking that makes it so that we might have confirmation bias, and we might have loss aversion, and we have all of these different things that we deal with that limits us from letting go. And so we gotta enter a state of prayer, a state of humbleness, to let ourselves be stripped off of the things that is no longer serving of us having this empty cup, to be able to receive, to be able to also give. Because a cup that is full can also not give pleasure and cannot give gratification to anything, can't it? I don't think it can. So if we again go a little bit back to what I mentioned, this the scripture that again talks about how we tend to be full of greed and self-indulgence, and that we literally clean the outside of the cup instead of the inside. We first need to like pray to not be blind, and to turn our focus towards inside the cup and the plate, so that the outside may also be clean. Because the public, let's say, if you look at the times that these scriptures were written, the public religious acts of the Pharisees were not a result of deep devotion in their hearts toward God and the work of the kingdom that caused them to live the way that they did. Because a lot of these people, they just lived for the religious rules, right? But we want to rather make it so that whatever we do it for the glory of God. And in order for us to do that, in order for us to be present in our relationships, to be present in our callings, in whatever we create, we need to give ourselves to something grander and bigger than ourselves. This is called devotion. You're devoting yourself. It's a devotion. And in order for you to devote yourself, there has to be a sense of spaciousness, a sense of peace in that spaciousness. And that is what we're aiming for mentally, emotionally, physically, in all the ways. So I would encourage you to look at, if you find yourself a little self-indulgent or greedy, if you find yourself focusing more on the outside, on the surface, on the appearance, on the way that you come off to others, even come off to yourself, I encourage you to take a look at what's happening on the outside. If your energy and focus goes towards the appearance, the things of the outside, instead of looking at that which is within, because you first want to clean the inside of the cup and the plate, that the outside may also be clean. That's how it works, because your glow, it comes from the inside. That's how we are able to resonate a truly spacious frequency, I would say. So it's being able to then devote ourselves to something beyond ourselves, create spaciousness within ourselves. And we can only do this if we empty the cup and clean the cup on the inside before we do on the outside. So whenever you next time clean a cup, and we do that pretty much every day, right? Like if you're human, you probably drink. Then let that serve as a reminder each time to put the focus on cleaning the inside more than you clean the outside, because the outside cleans itself once your spirit is in harmony right? When you let go, things raise up, and you're able to also be spacious enough to hold whatever God has for you in your life. And you're able to also keep it there. And you're able to sort of have this flow of giving and receiving, because that's what cups do. That's what you do. That's what you do. That's what you're here for. Simple as that. So that's the message for today. You clean the inside of the cup before you start cleaning the outside, because the outside cleans itself in accordance to cleaning the inside. This is also what we do inside the garden community. We aim to spiritually grow, because that is where everything else flows from. Everything else flows from that place of harmony on the inside, that faith, that courage, those qualities of endurance and grit. We want to be able to focus on that and nourishing that, just the same way that you go to the gym, just the same way that you aim to grow in other areas of your life. If you, let's say you focus on growing in your relationships, let's say you focus on growing in your career, in your calling, let's say you study something that you're interested in, how come we don't do that when it comes to our soul, which is eternal, which is what everything else flows from? And what I mean by that, soulful things, that is the things that you can't take away from someone. It's someone's character, someone's ways of being. And the common denominator in every single area of your life, the outside of the cup, right? The relationships, the friendships, the career, the calling, the creative expression, all of that comes from the inside of the cup, the soulful things of courage, of faith, of endurance, of grit. These are the things that we want to focus on first. And we do that inside the garden community, where we gather together in sort of groups as well. And the aim for this is for it to be both online and in person, where we can come together in sharing with each other where we're at, and being able to grow in our faith, in our courage, and applying that to our lives, and aligning it with scriptures, ancient scriptures, that allows us to not just do what we think we should do, but to do it in accordance to eternal principles that go above and beyond the feelings and the temporary sensations of our being, that we align ourselves to the higher principles. That's what I'm committed to helping others with now inside the garden community. So you can go to bloombeyond.com/garden or bloombeyond.com/waitlist to come onto the waitlist. And there you sign up with your email and everything, and then you'll be notified when you're basically when you get an opportunity to join in to that. So that's it for today. And let this truly be a reminder every time you drink, every time you clean your cup, your physical cup, that's also what we're doing in this life with ourselves. Okay. I'm sending you so much love, and a big prayer from me to you, that you would open yourself up to be guided by God, to let Him strip you of that which takes space in your cup, in your life, in your soul, and to humble you and to allow for spaciousness in you, allow for a sort of thankfulness for the smaller things, so that you can be more loving and present and peaceful in your life. That's my prayer for you right now. And I will see you tomorrow.